And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Victoria 3 as the Great Qing. We've got an election pending, so we're going to see how that plays out. No. Got a new mandate. Do you want to hold on to construction, or do I want... There's an argument that we run all the way down to the end of construction here and pick up the company. The middle level in construction is pretty meh. And then the last one's only good if you're going to take the company. The first one's really strong. It's 10% construction efficiency. Or do I want to run a different choice? Because I could swap out to something else. Standard living would be good. Efficient canning practice would be good. Mortality would be nice, but not probably what we're looking for. Yeah, I don't necessarily need to exploit my members that badly. Well, that's an additional plus 10 economy scale building level cap. It's one way I suppose to get it up to 60. Unless they nerfed it and there isn't, there's one less source of plus 10 or somewhere in the tree. So if I wanted a nice calm run out the rest of the way, I could run up to police coordination 3. We've got police level 5, so that'd be minus 25% political activism. Which would squelch most of the rebellious ones. Maybe we'll think about that. Literary. Infamy decay is nice. We'll let them do this option because there's a chance they'll pick up the literary. Even though they're losing some momentum, although we probably won but lose the momentum, so that works for me. Yeah, I'm surprised rubber is that expensive, but it is. Probably be worth trying to build more coal and iron out. Oh, I might be at the point where we're out of... Yeah, we're out of the good sources of iron. Okay, so we'll just finish clearing up the rest of the iron. Then we'll accept that if we're low on iron, we're low on iron, and we need to import it from someplace else. That tends to happen with China, where you've such a large population base that you can actually hit the point where you need more iron than there is available to make in the country. Okay. So if we reform the government, we can have this government. That one would be a little bit more stable by kicking out the Faith Party, I suppose. Okay. Although that's not much of a stability improvement. Join the Revived China Society. Okay, so it's going to change which group it's in, but that's not really changing much. Yeah, I think we want to get a guild system here. Get onto corporatized union. Slap some political concessions on that. Nah, we're not going to negotiate that way. Armed forces. Never mind. Taking the 19-4 and see if it passes. I'm actually surprised. Well, I am and I am not surprised that the industrialists aren't particularly powerful. What I should do... This is going to probably reduce government profitability. I still... Let's see what I'm thinking of. I still have German that one. Let's withdraw from that one. And this one. That way no one's investing in us. I can start nationalizing things, or start privatizing things. Government, domestic. Privatize. This way, a lot of the revenue that's previously, well, currently going to the government, instead can go into the hands of consumers. We have demand. It also can increase the number of jobs, because people have jobs to own these buildings. There we go. And they're not happy that we're making the swing, which is why we lost middle managers. So we're actually quite a bit short on the admin. I suppose I can queue up some more government admin. Although we're not desperate for those taxes right now, so... you want the investment rights back, and you're willing to pay for them, but I'm trying to nationalize, or privatize a bunch of stuff, so I'm going to say no here. And we can see the investment pool just disappearing into the void. This is just privatizing everything. Sole authority, yeah. I might need to... let's lower the taxes a bit. Yeah, we'll do some political concessions. There we go. Yeah, I'm trying to spend the money that we're currently collecting from privatization here. Because we're privatizing lots of levels. You can see the investment pool is just diving from all the privatization. And to be fair, when corporatized unions kicks in and the guilds are collapsed, I think that's going to add a bunch more to the privatization queue. Because the guild system has 25% self-investment. Yeah. Nope, the Emperor is dead. Long live the Emperor. The new one's just a moderate. With expensive tastes. That's not great. Experienced political operator, at least. Popular commander. Okay. So I think most of the national levels... Oh, no, we still got 2,000 more something to level to privatize. Just gonna lower the taxes a bit more. We're making too much money. No, we're not letting you buy any of these levels. We got 2,000 more to go. Maybe when we're all done, privatizing, we'll let other people own it. Invest again. In the meantime, that's presumably hopefully made some demand for some goods. Okay, so other people have invented the telephone and the car, I'm guessing. Because they're on the world market. Yeah, I think the British got them first. Somehow they are... No, they have cell orders. Okay, so they... No, that's coming from Trade Center. They're both... So they're... Wait. Who's selling these? They're importing the Irish Uprising. The Russians. And the Germans. Okay, so the Germans got to the car making. Or got to telephones. The Germans make the telephones. Makes the cars. I am both selling and buying cars, because that's how the demand in cars work. The Germans. Okay, so the Germans have got both cars and electronics first. That doesn't actually surprise me very much. We're about to hit telephones as well, so we're going to start telephone production. And I'm guessing we should probably follow that up with cars pretty quick. How many telephones am I going to need? 8.9 9,000 telephones. So a lot of telephones. There we go. So every electrics industry makes 60 telephones. So I basically need 9,000. So 10 is 600, 50 is 3,000. So 150 levels. So here be the birth of the Chinese telephone industry. Fire break. Okay. Cruise against socialism or the war to come. Don't need the fastest reactionary attraction, so we'll do triumph roll. Minimum expectation 8.1. Current standards 12.1. Good to see. Yes, the Germans got both the telephone and the car before everyone else, although I think in the long run, we will probably outproduce them in both very rapidly. And after combustion engine, I should make the run to the next company. Yeah. Corporatized unions. And now in theory, I can go to laissez-faire if we actually have anyone that supports it. The hope is that the industrialists will come out of the woodworking and we can use them to swap to it. Floating harbor. That's more potential for trade. Let's, what happened to the telephone price, of course? We haven't actually hired up enough yet. Well, it's not going to take long. Or shouldn't take long. There might not even be enough supply after I build 150 levels just for the government, because the private queue wants it. Private people want it. Is it all being exported, or is it mostly pop consumption? Okay. This is maybe going to hurt, but we're going to take the swing. Telephone switchboards, please. Will transfer one of their subjects to me if we back them in the ongoing plague. Sure, I could be bribed with territory. Where do you want the soldiers, UK? Is there even a front to deploy to? There's a couple fronts to deploy to. Oh, the Germans are on the other side. Fair enough. This is transfer from the opposition, which is the Germans. Okay. I'm being bribed with German territory. Fair enough. So that's the West Borneo front. Send an army there. Army there. Send an army there. Send an army there. Oh, the investment pool is actually empty, so I now have to actively invest, or there isn't enough investment. Fair enough. Raise some taxes so I can actually do that. And we need more telephones. So how many buildings do I have in the queue? What's the page length? $12. Oh, it's gonna give me the counter on the side. We've got 50 telephones. Factories still in the queue. So we worked out that's about 3,000. We can probably export more, so let's go for another 50 levels. Okay, so that's the telephones. Can't build the cars yet. We'll be back for that. Art. $200 levels of art. Because we've created a massive capitalist class that now need their art. Owner class that needs their art now. Do you hear that too? Progress towards radios. Assume the telephone company actually consumes something. Although, of course, the ones I don't have done are trying to be on a 0 level one. I need to find one that's not 0 level. I'm trying to think about what demand we're about to have coming out of the woodworks. Rubber. Okay, so that's not great for the fact that we don't have enough rubber. But telephones. Lead. Okay, I'm pretty sure lead was associated with that, yeah. Iron. Tools. Okay. Although our tools are incredibly cheap. Disease among the wounded. This is troubling. Offload some of the strain onto the civilian medical sector, please. No. Okay, so I apparently need more troops. Or at least to call them back from abroad to defend against the Russians. Let's raise another 200,000 men. Okay. So I meant to... And we've got a succession movement, so I can't fix that. Fine. I was meant to raise them as artillery, we'll raise them as infantry. It'll be fine. Be fine. So I'm doing combustion engine into the company, yeah. I think after that we'll take the run to next troop tech, which is trench war. Do a hard research there, or do I do the... No, I should probably do the ships first. Repeaters, and then we'll bite the bullet and go for trench warfare. Can't leave the German one because we're currently at war with Germany. It's thematic sense. Don't I have an army on the way over here? Or did the army arrive? No, you were supposed to make the motion here. What? Oh, one of the fronts got moved. Okay, I confused it. Fair enough. We have an army on the way there. And I may still not have enough telephones. Granted, that's because the deficit is the amount we're selling to the world. So the world wants telephones, and the American or the Chinese are apparently the main world supplier to telephones at this point. Oh wait, we're the entire world supplier to the telephones, basically, for realistic purposes. Everyone else is doing like weird arbitrage. Okay, I think we'll do another round of them after we're done with the military. 50 electronics. Excuse me as I go ahead and draft another 200. Another 400,000 men on top of the 200,000 men we're adding to these armies. Demonstrate to the Russians just how many men we can throw into battle if need be. This is China. We don't have cars yet, although we will in 4 months, and then we'll be really building cars. In the meantime, we need some engines. Yeah, in the meantime, it's mostly engines. Although that's 150 levels of engines right there. And then I suppose 150 levels of engines eats basically 50 levels of steel. Although we've got a steel surplus, don't we? Yeah, we got a big steel surplus. Let's swap more of the wood over to hardwood. That's the wrong tab. That's tab. At some point we'll have to come through and do a little electrification. I was thinking of potentially doing it this part, but then we've got a lot of other things going on that are also quite valuable to do. Well, that's a little bit more of an annoying spot for that to be. Previously it was up in the borderlands, which isn't going to be that bad. Mostly empowered by their radical supporters. Well, from an activism standpoint. Can I get rid of some of the political concessions on the agriculture? No. Yeah, the attacks are being successful, so we're going to drive the Russians back. And then we'll win that war. At some point, either the army I had down there is not down there anymore. Okay, we'll have to probably naval land it instead then. There's combustion engine. Of course means it's time to kind of do what we just did with the electronics, but with cars. There is at least a domestic demand for 57 cars. What is the world market looking like for cars? So there is more than twice the demand in the world market than there is supply. So I could happily build a decent number of cars. Oh yeah, could definitely build at least 5 levels of cars, not 10 levels of cars. With the expectation that someone will buy them. More minting, reduced interest rates. So we occupy one Russian state. The Russians should be willing to white peace. We already should be willing to surrender eventually. And they're already there, so it's just a matter of time. The other war is actually probably the harder one. But yeah, as soon as we negotiate a peace with the Russians, we'll pull the troops off to try to win the other war pretty quickly. Oh, and this is because we're in conflict. It's screwing up the map type. There we go. Nope, nope. We have the lock map node. Because we're in war, it's trying to do the countries in conflict, which is competing with the ranked conflict, so this is why this bug happens. So I gotta get out of the war before I can see roll the rankings. Because that's a good way for the things to work, right? Prestige or legitimacy for 5 years. Well, we really don't need the prestige. We'll take the legitimacy. So if I took the prestige, it would be more of being mean to other people. We really don't need. Okay, that war's over, so we can take our stacks of armies and just shove them at various objectives. Okay. There isn't enough demand in the private queue to keep the construction working, so I need to find something to build. Looks like 50 art academies. Oh, that's partially because we're able to export art, so that might not necessarily be super sustainable. Lead, we've already developed all the native lead, right? Yes. I've got some rubber. Do the rubber. Should probably do some coal. We can do under levels of coal pretty easily. I think all the domestic iron is done, yeah. We got food on the rise again. Wouldn't be a bad thing to build. 50 levels of food. Got the achievement for Standard Oil. Although I'm pretty sure we've had that one before. I think that's achievement for having your companies own enough foreign subsidiaries or something. Okay, if we can successfully land or crush from either direction in that location, we'll get the Germans out of the war. Which will probably help the British in doing their actual war against the Ottomans. Although, you're low enough I can do a decrease economy. That didn't give us a border with the Ottomans there, which is fine. You're probably going to be the first subject we annex. Yeah, I don't think I'm going for the construction company. We can save it for the last mandate and then swap to something else. I really want to optimize that slot. Actually, probably foreign investments would make sense. Oh, great skyscraper site. That sounds like a good idea. Oh, I can totally remove the ban on opium. That the other bonus associated with that's gone away. Let's do that. Should have done that decades ago. Now, the tradition of free elections and universal suffrage introduces the chance for tenocracy, autocracy, oligarchy, and anarchy. Also forbids the electoral manipulation. So if I don't manipulate, we get this. Oh, and that's this is an exchange of yeah. We'll just let it stay free and fair. Communist literature should be banned. Yeah, the communists went from almost winning the election to, yeah, we banned your literature, and that's not helping them win anymore. You're still getting a billion more votes than they were before. Vote value. Junicol. It's buff to boats. Okay, so the Ottomans are losing, so someone landed in Tunis. We have yet to occupy Pontiac. Vote for clear skies. Oh, the industrialists are, in fact, out of the cold. And in the Constitutional Association Party. Okay. So we may be able to get them into government. If we get them into government, we can try to swing to laissez-faire. electrical capacitors. So that's good if we're going to do more electrification. We probably are going to do it in the future. Cars are still expensive. 1,000 demand for cars, so we should build some cars. That's motors. Automobiles. 30... We'll say 30 levels of cars. See, the private queue is going like, yeah, you need cars. I'm not quite sure I agree that wholeheartedly with the private queue, but we're going to double down on some more cars regardless. Nope. Here is Krakatoa. We shall help with all we have. Tidal waves. Technically, I got hit with that, so I could have also said, no, we're too busy with it ourselves without taking an infamy hit, but I didn't. And of course, we're getting spammed with something that should have just been... This should be 1. Well, this is... Unless you open up and it tells you where it is, it should be 1. Of course, it's going to make the communists a little bit more powerful. Okay, so I'm building cars, so don't add more cars to the list. Domestic iron wouldn't be bad to build. Don't know how to levels that, although... No, we've already done all the domestic iron, so that's a no. Could do glass. Could do food again. Wonder, is the unemployment going up or going down? I think it's stationary. It's not really changing. We simply grow too many new people to find them all jobs quickly enough, apparently. Oh, we can have an election. Reform government. That government would be more stable. What is that government doing? Getting rid of the Faith Party. Okay. Lots of opposition, probably mostly coming from the farmers and the trade unions, which are in our government. Okay. Oh, and that probably would set the communists off. That'd probably be the final nail in the coffin, set the communists off. Yeah, because the only thing worse than where they are currently is going that direction. Okay. Well, surprisingly little opposition to the regulatory bodies. And I got lots of bureaucracy, so that wouldn't be too hard to do. You know, regulatory bodies to keep people alive and happy. Not too bad. Not really what we want to be doing, but we'll do it. Calm the communists down, at least. Darn. So I'm going to get some more flip concessions on that. Got rid of the stall chance, but did not get a any success chance. It was 8% success chance. There we go, we occupied the state. So the war should come to an end pretty quickly. One small exception shouldn't hurt. One small exception shouldn't hurt. Bulls forced on the German Empire. Okay, so we get success chance, you get political concessions. Sure. Oh, that works. I'll take an alliance, yeah. I take an alliance, I get to invest in you, not the other way around. Yeah, I'm aboard that. Here's another corporation. We're gonna give that corporation, I think, to the car makers, the automakers. Don't allow me to do steel. Although electronics is a little tempting in its own way, right? So, cars, which we saw already, is motor industries and automobile industries, formation speed, and I could get steel as an ad. Or if we go for electronics, it's just the electronics. Oh, I could get rubber as an ad. Yeah, I think I just sold myself on the rubber being an ad. Just go claim rubber the world around. At least try. I don't know if it'll work in the secondary industry. It should work in the primary one. Although, then that means they can build telephones the world around, which is maybe not what we want. Definitely down for the radios. Or definitely down for the rubber, if they can do the rubber. Yeah, apparently we need more cars. Although, we got a bunch of cars in construction. Rubber glass, we're working on glass. There's no iron to be made. Could do some furniture. Let's do some furniture. Okay, interest activated. So next time I sit down, I should sit down and do electrification, I suspect. Do the electric sewing machines, electrify the sawmills. And yeah, that's going to take a long time to do, but I think it's worth doing. I should maybe take the coil file. We'll work that out next time. But yeah, our GDP is growing. It's not growing as fast as it used to, although that's partially because we're running out of raw materials, right? There is no more lead to get in the country. There's no more iron to get in the country. There's no more wood to get in the country. There's no more sulfur to get in the country, I think, either. So there's lots of resources like, well, we could raise the GDP if we built X. Can you build X? No. So yeah, we're moving on to trying to move industrial goods at this point. And we got 18 million unemployed, so we got plenty to employ. We got plenty of peasants, even if we ran out of the unemployed. I'm pretty sure the private queue has been building farms, which makes sense because the up until recently we didn't do a lot of privatization, so a lot of the private queue was actually the aristocrats and the government payment, government reinvestment. Now that we've done all that reinvestment, it's probably mostly capitalists at this point. Yeah, it's mostly capitalists. The financial districts, the company headquarters are capitalists, with the manor houses coming in third. Before that, it was government reinvestment. And it's still, everything else that is not in those top three, that's government reinvestment. That is, we as the government own the building. And if you as the government own the building under interventionalism, 25% goes to the government, 50% goes to reinvestment, I think. That's how that's working. And then 25% of it disappears in the void. Is how I understand. No, I think actually half of it goes to the government, half of it goes to reinvestment. Something like that. Don't remember which one of these is. So yeah, that 50% is going to reinvestment. Yeah. Okay, so this is the amount going. Yeah, so 25% is disappearing. There's a couple texts that change that and make it better. I'm not sure how many of those we actually have. So there's a 5% more to the government. Yeah, I don't know where all of them are. That might be the only one. I haven't min-maxed the tech tree when it comes to government investment. Usually you want to privatize everything, which is what we just did recently. which in theory has just caused a big growth in the capitalist class. Let's actually go take a look at that. Society. No, population's wrong. Chart. Yeah, you can see the population of the upper strata just going whoop near the end. That's that was privatization. Privatization kicked in and went up real fast. And then you can see at the beginning when we did the transition over to homesteading. That was the dip at the beginning in the upper strata. Yeah. And then we can see that the largest expenses for the upper classes: art, services, and telephones. Although at this point we've arguably got telephones under control, so they're just spending it on telephones because telephones are available. Same sort of thing. We got our under control. Okay, before I ramble too much longer, this is where we're going to go ahead and put the part break in. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be probably another part up tomorrow, if everything goes according to plan. If you're watching on Twitch, let me bring up the schedule. So today was Victoria 3, obviously, because you're watching it today. Or I suppose you could be watching it anytime in the next 14 days if you're watching it on Twitch. If you're watching this on YouTube, then, well, I do one part a day. So, Monday, we're going to be doing Humankind. I suspect we will finish on Monday, although I could be wrong and we might go for another day. Tuesday is going to be Shadow Empire. Again, I suspect we probably win and finish Shadow Empire on Tuesday, although I could be wrong and it could go another day. If we finish really early, we'll start Songs of Six after it's complete. And by 6, it's SYX. I can't quite get the pronunciation of that X out there. Sykes, or whatever you want to refer to it. I go 6. Wednesday will be Whiskerwood. We'll be back to Victoria 3 on Thursday. I'm pretty sure on Wednesday, the Whiskerwood, that's probably not going to be the last stream, although it would be. It depends on how quickly we get through the rest of the tech tree. But yeah, we'll be back to Victoria 3 on Wednesday, or on Thursday. We got 30 years left. The game gets a bit slow and laggy in the last 30 years. Partially because, well, it might not with us being China, because my sense of how the game gets laggy ties it to unoccupied jobs, usually. Right, so if you're really playing really well on a lot of nations, you'll generate a lot of jobs with no people to work them. We might hit that fairly late here as China, although we've seen some signs of lag. But yeah, so we might have that running a bit longer. So we probably won't finish this all in the next stream on next Thursday. Or if we do it, we'll take the entire stream, is my suspicion. So next Thursday, we'll be back to play this. Next Friday will be the continuation of Humankind, if we haven't finished it. I have a couple ideas for what we're going to replace it with. Might get replaced with Darkest Dungeon. Might get replaced... I'm trying to think of the other games I picked up recently. Well, I say recently. Picked up around Christmas time. We've only got to round one of them, which was... I'm trying to open up soon. Only got around to Whiskerwood. I may not have installed them, so they might not be showing up. But yeah, there's a couple other games I'll be thinking about for Friday. Darkest Dungeon is recently on my mind, although I'm not sure if that will be taking over for Humankind come Friday. Then Saturday will be Songs of Six, unless we didn't finish Shadow Empire. So that's the upcoming schedule for the next week. Going over it once more, we got Victoria 3. Victoria 3 was today. Tomorrow will be Humankind. Shadow Empire will be following that up. If it finishes early, it'll be Songs of Six. Wednesday will be Whiskerwood. Thursday will be Victoria 3, because that's when we'll be back around to it. Friday will be Humankind if we haven't finished it, or something else if we have. And Saturday will probably see Songs of Six, assuming we finish that Empire. And then so on and so forth going into the future. So that's the upcoming schedule for the week. Hope everyone has been enjoying. If you want to leave a comment while the stream is live, now's your opportunity to do it. I will leave the stream up for a couple of minutes to respond to comments, but I haven't seen any since I took the tea break, which, to be fair, those are my comments. And if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to leave comments as well. I do respond to the majority of comments on YouTube, partially because most of them are respondable to. Although I did have one today, I think it was asking a question about something in a mountain in a different language. So I don't know if that was Google Translate just whiffing on the translation there, or if they weren't really asking a topical question. So with that, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part and/or stream, and bye for now.